Volvo has never really cracked the full-sized executive sector, and this S90 model hasn't done so either, but it has its charms, especially in the recharged T8 plug-in hybrid all-wheel drive form that customers now have to have. Based on the brand's well-established SPA platform architecture and 2-litre drivetrain format, this electrified Swedish saloon aims to tempt company customers with what Volvo describes as elegant and functional appeal.
This S90 uses Volvo's more powerful T8 plug-in hybrid powertrain with 455 horsepower on tap. You're certainly never really prompted to exercise it, but if you ever did, you'd find that 62 miles an hour could be dispatched in just 4.7 seconds on the way to the governed 112 miles an hour maximum that all Volvos these days share. Once you've discovered where the drive modes reside, they're buried away in a driving menu on the centre screen, you'll find that ultimate speed is delivered by a power mode that sees both petrol and electric units permanently working together. Alternatively, there are 3 other drive choices: a hybrid setting that sees the 2 power sources cutting in and out as necessary, a constant all-wheel drive mode that gives you permanent 4x4 traction, and a pure setting that only uses the battery power and can take you up to 54.7 miles, way more than most people's daily commuting distance on a single charge. That the handling doesn't serve up anything that encourages much driving involvement has a lot to do with the rather vague steering, which doesn't improve much if you select the provided Driving Dynamics Steering Feel Firm screen option. Actually, if you do push on a bit, grip and traction are quite reasonable, and cornering body roll is better controlled than you might expect. But if you wanted a sports saloon, you wouldn't have chosen an S90 anyway. So it's best instead to settle back and enjoy the super smooth 8-speed auto transmission and this Volvo's unruffled poise and exemplary refinement. There's no adaptive damping system, and that's disappointing because you'd ideally want it in this car. The extra weight of the plug-in hybrid powertrain has robbed the S90 of the supple suspension feel we remember it delivered in the unelectrified versions available at the original launch. The centre screen also provides some battery usage options that allow you to hold charge until urban driving you might need to undertake later in your trip, or charge the battery from the engine while you're driving. As for the WLTP fuel and CO2 stats, well, the official figures are up to 104.6 mpg and between 19 and 61 grams per kilometre. The important thing, of course, is that the government believes the Fantasyland CO2 stats, so business users will be able to write down as much as 100% of the cost of an S90 T8 against their tax liability. And thanks to a BIK rating of 7%, a 40% taxpayer could be driving this variant while incurring a BIK tax bill of no more than around £100 a month. As with any plug-in hybrid, there's little point in purchase unless you establish a regular recharging regime for the battery pack, which in this case is 11.6 kilowatt hours in size. Customers will be able to buy a wall box from Volvo that will charge their cars on 16 amp power in about 2.5 hours. If you're out and about and find a 10 amp public charging point, the charging time will be slightly longer, 3.5 hours, while connecting up to a normal domestic 3-pin 6 amp supply will take 6 hours. This remains the most credible full-sized executive saloon Volvo has brought us to date. The design language here is apparently taken from contemporary Scandinavian culture, and from most angles the resulting shape still looks elegant and sophisticated. With its short overhangs, long wheelbase and low roofline, there's an air of confident assurance here, yet also a look that's uniquely Swedish. Step inside an S90 and it'll all be pretty familiar if you're conversant with Volvo's current design language, though a difference over the brand's SUVs lies with smart air blades that stand vertically on each side of the Sensus centre monitor user interface. This tablet-like 9-inch touchscreen plays a key role in creating an interior that remains modern, spacious and uncluttered. Changes made to this updated model are minor, restricted to detail stuff like the availability of an exclusive tailored wool blend for the upholstery if you don't want this beautifully stitched leather. You'll glimpse more high-tech screen technology through the 3-spoke multi-function steering wheel, where the binnacle houses a 12.3-inch progressive driver display screen, which can show almost full-width navigation mapping as one of its 2 customisation options. There's also a standard head-up display. Let's take a seat in the back then. Now, given the extra body length that this S90 enjoys over some of its rivals, you'd expect it to feel pretty spacious back here, and by and large it is. A clever design of front seat back, further freeing up leg and knee room for rear seat folk. We'll finish by taking a look at the cargo area. Now, the power-operated boot lid rises to reveal the welcome news that trunk space isn't as restricted by the plug-in hybrid system's battery as it usually is with PHEVs. The conventionally engined S90 we tested back in 2016 had 500 litres of capacity. This car has 461 litres. There's a ski hatch so that you can push longer items into the cabin, and if you need more space, there's a power folding rear seat backrest. Here's a Volvo rarer than a Ferrari, but it doesn't deserve to be. In this S90, the brand has a properly credible and rather charismatic flagship saloon that will complement the discernment of the relatively few business buyers likely to choose it. This car's reach will be severely curtailed by the restriction to plug-in power, but if that's what you wanted anyway from a saloon in this segment, and your priorities lie with comfort rather than sportiness, then it's worth a look. Inside, there's properly distinctive luxury rather than merely the kind of upgrade from a smaller, cheaper model that rivals offer. Sure, not everyone will like it, but then there won't be enough S90s imported to satisfy everyone anyway. Those who do choose this car can justify their decision not only on the basis of wanting something different, but also through a range of more foundational attributes, things like impressive levels of standard equipment, class-leading safety, and a very high-end quality cabin feel, all combined with a rather unique blend of performance and efficiency. It's all quite unexpected, from a car that may well make you rather like the unexpected.